All right, well, today is September 15th, 2018, and right now at 12:15 a.m., we have a temperature of 67 degrees here in the foothills of Los Angeles. The relative humidity is 37%. The dew point is 40 degrees, and the barometer is reading 29.84 inches. And today we had very clear skies. We had very dry weather. The relative humidity was around 15%, and the temperature was up around 97 degrees. It varied around the area, but it was very hot and very dry. So that was a big change in the weather that we saw here in Southern California, uh, because we'd had really kind of nice, almost fall-like weather the previous 3 to 4 days, and we haven't seen any heavy aerosol spraying at all, any chemtrail spraying for several days now. All right, so we're looking at the floaters, the floater map, the rainbow infrared map. This is Tropical Storm Florence, and we noticed that the storm is stalled. And if we take a look here, we can see, first of all, we're going to take a look at the Doppler map, and we're going to notice right away that there is really no activity to be shown regarding the WSR88D. Normally we see, on the west coast, we see these pie-shaped cutouts. And this is the current map right now over South Carolina and North Carolina as well. We can see this very deep area of precipitation right here. The center of the storm is right about here. And so the question is why are the WSR88Ds not being used right now to break this system down? We see that two things. Let's look at the, here's the Hurricane Center map. Currently 60 mile per hour winds. The central pressure has risen to 984 millibar, but it's moving west-southwest at 5 miles per hour. And we can see that the system is spinning fairly vigorously counterclockwise right over the ocean. It's picking up moisture. This is pretty much a rerun of what we saw with that hurricane that went into Texas, Harvey. It was parked right near the ocean, picking up moisture and dumping it right into, here we see North Carolina and South Carolina and Georgia. Now the interesting thing here, let's take a look at the surface analysis map. I'm going to bring this out a little bit. Get over here. Okay, so what we're seeing here is, let me move this camera over. We have this hurricane right here. This is Florence, and we have highs installed all over the place, up here, here, over here, and right down over here to the left, and right here. This system is pretty much cornered. And also, if we look at the pressure maps quickly here, we see the right here we've got that hurricane or tropical storm Florence right there. This is the surface map. Let's look at the 500. We see high pressure all over the place, all the way around this storm. And then the 300 millibar right here, look at this. 300 right here is surrounding the westbound movement of this storm. This is rather interesting right here. And of course, the surface map, once again right here, shows all these highs. We've got 1 here, 2, 3, and 4 right here. 4 highs. This is a closed high. We've got another one here. 1,022 millibar, 1,013, 1,025. But yet this hurricane is forecast to move in and then do a U-turn and head right back out through the northeast. If we go to the National Hurricane Center, take a look at Florence, and click on the cone track here. Let's take a look. So over the weekend, by Monday, according to this schedule here, this thing's going to do a U-turn and head right back through Pennsylvania and out through New Jersey, New York, and out Connecticut, and out back into the Atlantic. So there it is. The interesting thing, once again, though, is the IntelliCast Doppler radars are not doing what they typically do out here on the West Coast when we have rain. Let's go ahead and take a look right now at what happens out here on the West Coast. This is a screenshot I took on July 25th of the Nogales area, Arizona border right there with Mexico. We see this giant pie-shaped cutout. And of course, there's a Doppler radar, a WSR88D right here, right near the 10 freeway, just down the way from Tucson on the Interstate 10. We can triangulate that area by just laying a couple of rulers right here on these straight edges, and that'll take us right to the point where this transmitter is located, which is right about right there. You can find a list of these WSR88Ds on Wikipedia. They're all over the country. So this is what we should be seeing over in the Carolinas. Those Dopplers should be breaking down that heavy rain to stop the flooding. That's not happening. Let's look at another example here of Phoenix. On the 9th of July, we see that transmitter. We can triangulate these two straight edges and get an approximate location of this activity here. Looks to me to be about the same. Well, not exactly. I don't have my list of transmitters handy at the moment, but this is what we should be seeing on the East Coast. So that there's no effort being made to break that storm down and prevent the catastrophic flooding that could occur. Now, this is what the WSR88D looks like. We have a radome up here. This houses a 24-foot parabolic dish, which transmits microwave in the S-band, which is 2 to 4 gigahertz. These transmitters work in the 2.4 gigahertz range, and they actually evaporate the water vapor, and that's what causes the pie-shaped cutouts. If you go back and look at the Doppler map, we have a tower that, just like what I was just showing, positioned somewhere in this area, and that beams out microwave energy at a very high power. They have a capability of 750 kilowatts. That's pulsed power, and we can see that what the result of that is these transmitters just simply evaporate the water vapor, and that's what causes this cutout. We can see other lines out here as well. Now, looking at today's earlier screenshots I took of Florence, we can see that there is some evidence here of one of the WSR88Ds right about here, where all of these lines triangulate right to about to this point. So there was some half-assed effort going on to make it appear that there was some effort, but certainly there's no pie-shaped cutouts there. We do see that some low power was being used. We see that the red, that is the heavy precipitation in this particular window right here, there's not much yellow except for right here. All the rest of this area is full of very deep water vapor and saturating rain. So let's look at another shot today. That's zoomed out quite a bit. We can see those lines all triangulating to that one area. Let's take a look at the next one here. This is close up. Now, the transmitter location in this area is somewhere right around Grizzletown, it looks like. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. Gristletown. Anyhow, right in this area is where that transmitter is. And again, that is the WSR88D right there. Most of them are stacked on about a 6-story tower. Sometimes we see them on a 3 or 4-story tower, but this is what they look like. Okay. So we should be seeing this sort of cutouts in the precipitation pattern in an area which is receiving heavy flooding. That's the purpose of these WSR88Ds, but we see that they're not being utilized for any real good today in the Carolinas. They could use the WSR88D to chop up and stop the flooding and evaporate these very deep cells. So it's interesting that these terrorists would allow that to happen, but it's not I'm not surprised, but this is proof that on the West Coast we don't have much rain because of this activity. They're not allowing the rain in. So this is good proof of what's going on. Here we have Nogales once again. All right. Next, I want to talk about this eye wall. Where is that? Right here. This was on the Drudge Report yesterday. This is a pretty good shot showing some manipulation in the eye wall of Florence. Right here we see the counterclockwise rotation, these bands. And here we see sort of a right turn occurring right there. A clockwise, you see something here, a big cutout, and then we see these bands curving to the right, which would be a clockwise rotation right there. So we see a lot of manipulation here, a breakdown of the eye wall right here, and we see something else going on right there, which is very odd. None of that's normal. This should be a perfect circle. This is the eye wall, the lowest pressure point. And in this area is why we have the storm surge. This turns into a dome of seawater about 30 miles across. So as this thing moves along, the negative pressure in this eye wall is what raises the ocean as this moves onshore. Okay. All right, so that is, now there was a report on Drudge today about strange clouds seen in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. Here we go. Transmitter boring a hole right through the water vapor, but yet the chemtrails are not affected. That's because these don't contain water vapor. And we see what appears to be a sinking sort of a feature here. That's from the descending air as this transmitter bores this hole. This is still on the Drudge Report center column, about all the way down on that column. Here's another shot. Perfect circle right in the middle of the sky, and the chemtrail haze right in the middle. So this is the chemical haze, unaffected because it doesn't contain water vapor. And we see the water vapor itself, which is all this area out here, has been evaporated. So people in the Bay Area took pictures. Here's another one. We've got a hole over here, one over here. Chemtrails are showing through the hole. We've got reports on this channel of people seeing chemtrails in the Bay Area the last few days. So that's it. Now, there's some other things. I'm running out of time, but the next thing is space news right here. Everybody check this out. This is the plan to reorganize the space assets. This is on space.com. A memo from September 10th talks about the complete reorganization. It will be a top-down program, and this will hopefully put some light on what's going on with this weather manipulation. If it's a DoD program, if satellites from the NOAA are involved, or just what. So read this article, and that's it. I got to wrap it up. We'll do another one later.